have some texture there, as opposed to that other white one that's smooth and our hands started sliding around. One last thing that we liked is a nice slim handle like that last one you had. You can see here that the handle is kind of bulky, and if you are sliding under a pie pastry or cookie dough, you want to be able to hold the scraper as parallel to the work surface as possible, and you can't with this bulky handle. So you're holding our winner. This is the Dexter Russell 6-inch dough cutter and scraper from the SantaSafe series. It was $7. It's got a great secure handle, a nice fairly sharp beveled blade. It cut through things easily. It scooped things up like a pro, and this is our new favorite bench scraper.
So Dexter Russell, $7, sharp blade, nice handle, which is pebbled, and for $7, you can't go wrong. You know, I have to say I like culinary cover-ups because French cooking is mostly about cover-up. You get like a half-rotten piece of fish in Paris in 1820, and what do? You put a velouté or bechamel on top of it to cover it up, right? So if you're going to cook a piece of salmon, which is always a little dicey, you get the sesame seed crust, which burns half the time, and then it doesn't really disguise what's underneath it, which is this albumin's leaking out.
Right.
So you think, okay, I can like cover up my mistakes, and the fact of the matter is the crust even makes it worse. So we're going to go back to the beginning with you to figure out exactly how to do all of this stuff right.
Right. I didn't think you were still allowed in the kitchen, Chris. So,
I am when I bring bad food in.
So yeah, overcooked salmon is the biggest problem. Anytime you cook a fish, overcooking it is the one thing you have to avoid. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off by shopping for the fish. We want to start off with a 2-pound center cut fillet because the idea is to have all the pieces of fish equal in size so they cook at the same rate. So we have a 2-pound center cut fillet. It's been skinned, and we want to go ahead and just break it into 4 equal fillets. And what we're going to do now, in order to help prevent drying out, is turn to a brine, which we often do with chicken and pork. So we have 5 tablespoons of salt and 2 quarts of cold water. We're just going to whisk that together. Okay. Now, before we add the fish to the brine, we're going to reserve 1 cup because we're also going to brine the sesame seeds that are going to crust the fish.
Have you now completely lost your mind? Why are you brining sesame seeds?
So what happens with the sesame seeds, like on a piece of fish like that, is when you actually bite into the seeds, they're dull and chewy, and they don't have any real sesame flavor. You've essentially burnt them. By brining them, what we do is you cause the starch in the seeds to absorb water, and when we go to toast them later on, they gelatinize and makes them crispy. And that'll sit for about 5 minutes. And then the salmon can go into the brine. All right, Chris, so the salmon's in the brine, and it'll sit there for about 15 minutes.
You know, we've had a lot of questions here at the test kitchen about why would anyone need to brine fish? They're already swimming in brine in the ocean. Well, it turns out that the salt water in the ocean doesn't get into the fish because there's skin on the fish, so there is no brining going on while the fish is alive. Second thing is that the brine we use here is obviously much more salty than what you see in the ocean, and everything needs to be brined if you're going to go cook it, any kind of meat or fish, because it helps retain moisture during cooking. There's one other thing, though. This brining only occurs in just 15 minutes. It gets the job done. If you're doing something else like turkey, it might be 6 or 8 hours. The meat fibers, the fibers in the protein fibers in this fish are very short. Now think about a tightly knit sweater for, let's say, turkey versus a very loosely knit sweater for salmon. It means that brine gets in very fast. So in 15 minutes, you can do the job versus hours for something like poultry.
Okay, Chris, so the sesame seeds have been brining for about 5 minutes. So we're going to drain them off. Then we're going to transfer them to a 12-inch nonstick skillet here and turn it to medium heat. And we're just going to toast those until they're nice and golden brown, which takes about 5 minutes. So you can see that the seeds are nice and golden brown, and you can smell it's got a nice aroma to it. So we're going to transfer it over here to this pie plate. So the salmon's been brining for about 15 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and transfer it out of the brine and onto a paper towel lined plate. So the salmon's going to sit aside and dry for a few minutes. And now we have to talk about sticking the seeds to the fish. Unlike the one that you brought out earlier, the seeds are falling off in big chunks.
Thanks.
You know, you did a great job. So what we turned to was tahini, which is a Middle Eastern sesame seed paste. It not only stuck the seeds well, but it also boosted the sesame flavor. I have 4 teaspoons of sesame paste here. And to that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of grated lemon zest that I'm going to mince together with 2 scallion whites. We'll save the greens for garnish later. So I'll just give these a quick chop to start. And the reason you want to chop the zest and the scallion whites together is so you don't get any large chunks of lemon zest in the tahini paste. We'll just add that to the tahini. We're also going to add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of grated fresh ginger, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and we just stir that together. Okay, so now we're going to spread about half of the mixture on the underside of the salmon. We want to work with the skin side first. If you're a little uncertain about how much, just by eyeballing it, I'd go with a little bit less on the bottom of the tahini paste because you want to make sure you get the top covered really nicely. And now we could go ahead and dunk the tahini coated side in the sesame seeds. You see how that sticks really nicely? I'll just put that back down here. Okay. All right, now we can go ahead and apply the rest of the tahini paste to the top of the fillets. All right, now we're just going to press the top half of the fillets into the sesame seeds. You see how well the sesame seeds are adhering to this? You can't even push them off if you tried.
Well, then when you cook them, then we're going to find out
We'll
how
find out.
well they stick, right?
That's right.
The test is in the pan.
All right. I have 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil heating up in this 12-inch nonstick over medium heat. Actually, we want to shake the skillet first to distribute that oil all around. We're going to go into the skillet skinned side up. And now I'm going to immediately turn the skillet down to medium-low heat. We'll let this cook for about 2 minutes until the sesame seeds get nice and golden brown. All right, Chris, so it's been about 2 minutes. You can smell that the sesame seeds are nice and toasted. We're going to go ahead and turn off the heat and begin flipping the fillets gently. So now we're going to transfer the salmon to a 325-degree oven on the middle rack. It takes about 10 minutes to hit 125 degrees. Okay, perfect. You can see that compared to your salmon, there's a lot less of the albumin leaching out of the sides.
I want to say that again compared to my salmon. One more time, just for everybody.
We're going to transfer the salmon to a platter here. Okay, so for garnish, we're just going to slice a couple of scallion greens, sprinkle over top.
Now, we all know how proud Brian is of his kitchen technique, but now we have to taste the food, right? I mean, we don't know yet. Anything can happen right now. Not bad.
Yeah.
It's actually great. You know, I thought that brining the sesame seeds was like a step too far, but they don't have that nasty crunch to them. They're really nice. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
they're not
crispy,
chewy, they're crispy.
but they're not chewy, yeah.
And they actually taste like sesame seeds.
This is delicious. So it turns out there were quite a few secrets to sesame crusted salmon. Actually, we started by brining the sesame seeds, which I thought was nuts, but actually made them crispy and not really hard to chew later on. Of course, we brined the salmon as well for about 15 minutes. Then we made a paste based on tahini with a lot of lemon, a lot of ginger, put the sesame seeds on, then cooked it in a pan about medium-low heat for just 2 minutes to set one side, and then put that into a low oven, 325 to finish. So there you have it, from America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, a whole new recipe for sesame crusted salmon with lemon and ginger. You can get this recipe, all the recipes from the season, our equipment ratings, our taste tests, and select episodes of this show, all at our website, which is, of course, americastestkitchen.com. Excellent job.
Thank you.